Hi, welcome to the bathtub, where when you hear no Christmas carols singing and nothing that I can be sued about, I think they shut me down last year because I played some Christmas music that was under copyright. I'm just doing nothing now. I'm not even going to hum a single tune. Dodo's quiet. We're drinking pure mountain water, high tech. The high tech years are over. We don't even do radio anymore. We just do YouTube. The great grandma used to do it. We don't have the singing sweater. That was too high tech for us. We have the festive hat and we have the festive dodo. I took the festive ornaments down from her playset, so she's kind of scared of that stuff. I don't blame her. A little scary. And we did a couple episodes already on the Christmas books. And the gimmick with this one this year is we're going to let you gimmick. It's a gimmick. We're sending anyone who wants an e-file of this. Put your own Christmas book together. You can give yourself credit for it. Boris Johnson, if you want it, you can say Boris Johnson's Christmas book. You can do anything you guys want with the Christmas book. I'm going to send it to you and give you instructions on how to put it together. And what I've done is I've taken a story that I sent out in 2010. This tells you what a sloppy creative process I have. 2010, I was never happy with it. It bugged me for years. And I finally think I've turned into a story I like. Which won't matter because it'll be in part of the festive sphere, the festosphere, whatever it is of Christmas festivities. I'm going to read it out loud, so you can all go home now. This is all the fun parts of the show are over. This is my story, Dazzle's Xmas Miracle. It should be Xmas Miracle, but you can call it Christmas Miracle if you like. I'm going to do two episodes. Read about 15 minutes apiece. Okay? Dazzle's my dog. He's misanthropic. He doesn't like people. He's not wild about dogs. He thinks the whole human experiment has been a disaster, and that for the most part, most intelligent creatures are not that intelligent. That's Dazzle's opinion. And he's gone off to live in Big Sur with his foster family and to get away as far away from people as he can. And this is the only Christmas story I've written for Dazzle. Dazzle was not a very Christmassy sort of dog. He found pine needles irksome, eggnog made him groggy, and there was something about the formulaic enthusiasm of Advent calendars that fell flat on his ears, like the promises of politicians at election time. And yet the more Dazzle disdained Christmas, the more his perpetually angry dad took it to heart. It was like they lived on different planets or something. "We'll put the great tree over here and the Yule log over there," Dazzle's dad began barking just before winter solstice, like a mid-management control freak at a company picnic. "Anatole, gather more pine cones. Felicia, dump all the reddest berries you can find into that pot. As for the rest of you guys, listen up. We've only got 3 days to make this the most memorable family Christmas ever, and if you bums don't pull your weight, I'm going to rip a hole in your collective butts, big enough for the moon to show through." It was as if the season elicited something hyper-obsessive from the back of Dad's brain. Perhaps it was a hormonal reaction to the deprival of sunlight. Or perhaps it was just the miserable old fart's way of keeping warm. "What the hell are you looking at, son?" Dad came to a stop in front of Dazzle like a drill sergeant in front of a sloppy recruit. "Don't give me that evil eye. Somebody's got to get these unruly kids in line, or they'll spend their lives hanging around the campfire, eating Cheetos and hobnobs. They'll grow fat, lazy, and disrespectful of authority. Eventually, they'll wander down to Highway 1 and get hit by a bus, or start mixing with wolves and coyotes, and you know where that leads. Miscegenation. Howling at the moon, eating your own poop. I mean, just look at your useless mate over there, snoring away like a clogged garbage disposal. Edwina, hey! I'm talking to you. Move your lazy butt away from the fire. That blanket is for warming the great beast's posterior when he arrives on Christmas Eve, not some crazy old bitch like you. Now, where the hell did I hide the Bacardi from last year? Was it north of the big rock or south of the old oak tree?" Watching Dad, Dazzle reflected, was like watching a primitive, burrier version of himself back when he thought he could still change the world. All conviction, induracy, and momentum, and always hurtling inevitably towards the same blunt, immovable object. "More tinsel," Dad shouted. "More candles! Somebody wrap crepe paper around that bush! Where's the iPod with our Christmas playlist? And Edwina, What did I say about moving your lazy butt off that blanket and... Jesus Christ! It was a rare and pleasant sight to see the old girl move so quickly in these dark winter evenings, Dazzle thought, especially when she was ripping holes in a butt that wasn't his. Edwina is Dazzle's mate, and she's not a very pleasant. She's kind of mean. When Dazzle was young, he didn't really know his dad, who lived behind a Krispy Kreme donut shop on Ventura Boulevard and barked vociferously at any dog who ventured near his territory. But since joining their anarcho-syndicalist federation of mutts in the high mountains, Dad thrived in his self-appointed role of venerable ancestor, doling out wisdom like a master doling out treats, especially when it came to articulating his half-remembered, half-manufactured tales of the great beast. Back before the dawn of time, he told the small, bright eyes that assembled around him every night like bunches of luminous grapes, the great beast was just like you or me. He ran wild in the woods. He played non-confrontationally with the wildcats and beavers, and he enjoyed life in a forest overabundant with natural resources. Then, just when everything seemed perfect, the human being showed up. He was hairy all over like a dog, but smelled much worse. He peed and crapped on everything. If something looked tasty, he took a big bite out of it and threw the rest on the ground. Maybe he even peed or crapped on it. I can't overemphasize this creature's need to pee and crap on everything. The only thing he enjoyed more was shooting animals or cutting their throats with knives and axes. He seemed to think it was funny, all those poor dying creatures staring around at his big piles of crap. Everything was really nice before the human being came along, but after the human being came along, nothing was nice ever again. I'm going to take this off. It makes you sweat. Eventually, the great beast decided enough is enough, and on a dark winter night, guided by the blazing Christmas star of justice, he snuck into the human being's campsite and tied him up with barbed wire. He piled Yule logs around him and set him ablaze. "What the hell do you think you're doing?" the human being asked. And the great beast replied, "I'm making the forest safe for dogs." While the human being screamed in agony, the great beast howled out the now immortal, "O come all ye hungry." He howled, "O horrid night," the human lies bleeding, and he howled my personal favorite, "Burn, baby, burn, ow woo, ow woo." You know, the classics. The same songs we howl every Christmas in the great beast's honor. When he finished singing, and the human being was a crispy dead husk filled with succulent brown meat, the great beast tore off strips and distributed them to the bobcats, squirrels, bears, and wolves. And when the forest creatures saw what the great beast had done, they got down on their front legs and bowed in submission. They begged the great beast to anoint them with his fragrant urine. They brought him presents of frankincense and myrrh, and no, I don't know what those are either. They brought him beef sticks and rawhide bones, and fed the great beast until he lay fat and sleepy beside the pyre on which the human being slowly crumbled into ash. And when everyone awoke the next morning, the great beast had already vanished off to his new home on the moon, where he howled down every night, "Respect your elders, especially me. And when the night grows cold at the end of the year, I'll be back. Ow-woo, ow-woo." Festive spring water. By the time Dad concluded his recitation, most of the pups were asleep beside the flickering fire. All except, as per usual, the brightest and most percipient of them, young shiny Poindexter, who resembled a mixed lab terrier poodle that had been left in the genetic blender too long. "Grandpa, are you saying that this great beast travels all over the world in one night?" "Absolutely, and he doesn't make any bones about it either. Get it? Make any bones?" "Funny, Grandpa. And how, pray tell, does he make this marvelous journey around the world's circumference, which, last time I checked, is like 25,000 miles, let alone find time to distribute presents?" "Why, that would be by means of his magical sleigh, Mr. Smarty Pants, which is pulled by the wild wolves of vengeance. Keep 'em coming. Grandpa's got all night." Shiny Poindexter was easily Dazzle's favorite pup in the entire camp. He questioned everything, especially answers. "Far be it from me to rain on your parade, Grandpa, but that sounds like a big festive pile of nonsense. It's physically impossible for one dog to do all the stuff you claim. What do you think, Uncle Dazzle? You're always telling us to question authority. Well, Now I'm questioning Grandpa. Is that cool or what? Dazzle exchanged a look with his father that spoke volumes about the relationship they had, the relationship they didn't have, and all the potential relationships in between. Which left Dazzle to shrug sheepishly and reply, "I'd just as soon leave this between you and Grandpa." Dad didn't smile. It was more of a non-scowl. "Look, Shiny, if that is your real name, I thought we agreed to call you Worm Eater. Your brothers and sisters are asleep, and it's time for you to be asleep too. Your Uncle Dazzle never understood the great beast, which is why he suffers from such a cynical approach to the world. So come give your ugly grandpa a lick and go to bed, and we'll see who survives our Christmas festivities in the morning." Whoops. Basically, Dazzle explained later to his erstwhile mate Edwina, I've got a lot of unresolved personal issues about Christmas, especially when it comes to my old man. They were lying in their decades-old bedroom in a cave overlooking the campfire, and Dazzle was whispering softly, since nobody in their right mind wanted to wake Edwina from a sound slumber. "When I was a pup, I spent my first and only Christmas hiding behind a garbage can. We didn't have presents or Yule logs. We didn't even have a blanket to sleep on, just a bunch of bloody newspapers left over from our birthing. For us, Christmas meant rain, wind, cold, and Mom freaking out every time we made a sound. 'Hush,' she shouted whenever we giggled or wrestled. 'Keep quiet. The world is lousy with dog catchers.' Dad never even wandered over to our side of the alley to ask how we were. He didn't tell us wondrous Christmas tales of the great beast or splash red paint on ornaments. In fact, when we were eventually carried off by dog catchers on Christmas Eve, he didn't even howl goodbye. He was too busy hiding." That night, Dazzle drifted through anxious dreams of consumerism and magic. Factory whistles were erupting everywhere, while banks of sweaty elves pounded away at belt-driven assembly lines with wooden mallets. "Please stop this endless goddamn production," Dazzle shouted. "Life isn't about fetishizing crap. Life is about squeezing forth a few minutes of simple animal pleasure from every day we're alive." But no matter how loudly Dazzle shouted, the elves didn't look up from their hammering. They just kept manufacturing name-brand consumer items with manic intrepidity. And when Dazzle awoke, he found himself entangled in a long green and gold plastic garland blown down from one of the over-decorated trees. He resembled a Christmas hostage. Jesus Christ, Dazzle thought. I don't know how many more of these freaking Christmases I can take. Pale moonlight lay distributed across the encampment like a lake of mist. It didn't feel like Christmas at all. It felt more like the last night on Earth before a pre-dawn zombie apocalypse. "Ho, ho, ho," the shambling, four-legged creature whispered as it stepped into the golden circle of campfire. A red velour mask was pulled over its pointy, elongated face, torn eye-holes drooping. "Wake up, dudes and bitches. I bring you glad tidings of muscularity and power." The great beast was both unsettlingly familiar and unsettlingly unfamiliar at the same time, like Freud's Unterheimlich. The ridiculous get-up, clumsily glued together from fabric remnants and scraps of colored paper, confirmed Dad's terrible craftsmanship. But the costume seemed to be wearing itself this year, and deep inside the blood-red, silver-trimmed velour fabric throbbed a cruel animal intensity. Like one of those singularities you read about in popular science magazines. Boy, Dazzle thought, either Dad's developed a new sense of confidence, or he's taken up acting. "Ho, ho, ho," the great beast said bluntly, as if pushing the words ahead of him with a broom. "It is I, the great beast, and I ain't got all night. Hey there, girl, you're looking fine. Come over and give the great beast a sniff where it matters. You know where I'm talking. Yeah, right there. Don't be shy. The great beast is in a position to do you some sweet favors on this cold winter evening. Meet me behind the trees later, and I'll show you exactly what I mean." Then, as if on cue, a pair of large, piebald wolves in cockily tilted Christmas party hats emerged from the woods, red eyes glowing. In their white, sharp teeth, they gripped brown hemp ropes leashed to burlap sacks, which they dragged along the ground like moldering corpses. Ho, 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 the great beast said, swinging his gaze from the burlap sacks to the most attractive bitches and back again. I wish I'd brought a camera. Your expressions are priceless. I'm going to stop there. I'll read the second half in the next episode. Okay. Happy Christmas. Happy festive Christmas. This is the third day of the holiday Bathtacular.